What's up, Cats fans? It's Paul here from the Hoops Crew to talk you through the recent news surrounding both our beloved Geelong Cats and Tarryn Thomas, a pretty disgraced, ex-North Melbourne player at this point who'd gotten himself into a lot of off-field troubles for the way he was treating women. There was a range of really awful things that he got involved with. And I want to, begin, because of everything that's going to come next, I want to begin by emphasizing just how awful the behavior is. It's completely unacceptable to treat women the way that he has and was and potentially, I don't know, potentially continues to. It's completely derailed his AFL career. I believe he's off the North Melbourne books at this point. But I'm not 100% clear on that. But I think he'll be looking for, if he's not already off the books, he'll be looking for a new home. North Melbourne's not going to want to hang on to him. And Geelong has in recent days been connected to him. And so I want to bring up a report initially here from good friend of the show, Anna Pavlou. All credit to Anna at the top there, who's been doing some work for the Wild Water Sports. And she's put together a piece here that basically discusses what has been going on with the disgraced North Melbourne player and the fact that Geelong is kind of connected to him. Andrew Mackie has spoken about it. He's hinted that the club may be entering talks. And that has certainly, riled up people within the Geelong supporting community. Plenty of people who, understandably, for all his off-field indiscretions, behaviours, horrible acts, don't want him anywhere near our club. And others who, are wanting to explore the possibilities. And so I want to discuss a bit of a pros and a cons, case for and case against here for bringing Tarryn Thomas to the Cats. Now, we kind of go on to see he stood down in February last year after the allegations first emerged, and then again at the end of March, when things were kind of confirmed. He returned to the VFL program mid-April, but then there was more allegations released in January this year. The Cats have suggested they'll keep the door ajar for the troubled star, with Kane Cornes championing the possibility of the 23-year-old's return to the big time if he was to do it through Geelong. Mackie explained that the Cats will always look into players that have experienced bumpy careers to see if they'd be a better fit at the club. And this is what Mackie said. At times, if you want to be in the market for players that are really talented and have that skill set, often, if they become available to you, it means that something has to have been a little bit bumpy for them along the way. So let's dive a little bit further in. The article goes on, and again, massive credit to Anna, who's amazing. We love her. Former Behind the Play guest, did some match reviews with us, is flat out and couldn't stick around with us because she's an absolute star and is kicking goals everywhere. But Anna, you're always welcome to come back and talk footy with us whenever you're available and whenever you're keen. Let's discuss whether Tarryn is a good fit for the Cats. On the against side, it's pretty clear cut. The behavior is completely unacceptable. We don't want it in society, let alone a part of the game, and it should be stamped out. My thing, and I say this as someone who's a teacher and has unfortunately seen a number of students, with alcohol problems, with domestic violence problems, with drug problems, a whole range of different potential issues that are impacting their life. And I'm really, rehabilitation first. Now, as much as this is not necessarily a drug problem, like a substance sort of problem here, there's a problem. And it potentially starts at, and I don't want to cast, so there's no allegations here, it's, hypotheticals. I don't want to cast any allegations, but, these sorts of things can start at a really early age where these are just ingrained behaviors in Tarryn. And I don't think there's a club better suited in the AFL to help a player turn it around and kind of fix their life than the Geelong Football Club. As much as he didn't play many games for us, Jack Steven was, a success for us in terms of, I think, what he became as a person. We obviously think about Tyson Stengel and the troubles that he'd had across both Richmond and Adelaide, comes across the Cats, straightens up his act, becomes a premiership player and an All-Australian in the same year in terms of the off-field exploits as well. And seems to be just kicking goals in terms of who he is as a person. And I don't see any reason why the same can't apply to Tarryn. He's heard time and time and again through this thing that the behavior is unacceptable. But maybe he hasn't had the right sort of guidance around him to steer him away from these behaviors, to help coach him out of those behaviors, to help put a practice in place for him that means that when he finds himself in that sort of scenario again, that he's not going to act the same way. And I think the Geelong Football Club can be that. And I think all of this, we know what he can be on the field. And I'll talk about some stats shortly. We know what he can be on the field. It's the off-field stuff that's the big issue here. I believe, and this is the case for, that the Geelong Football Club is the right fit for a Taran Thomas. Now, Geelong may not be the right, in terms of, he may not be the right fit for the Cats. The Cats may not want him in terms of their needs for their list going forward. But I think in terms of Taran, the Geelong Football Club is the right club for him if he wants to get himself right and get back on the footy field once again. Rehabilitation first. If the club can put the processes in place to help straighten him back up, get him on the right track, get those interactions right, clean up all the problems that he's had, then I see no reason why he can't return to football, assuming he's obviously kept himself fit and his skills are still where they need to be. And this is where I transition to the statistics side of things. I'm not going to present this because it's very data heavy. It comes from AFL tables, and I just basically grabbed their numbers from recent years. In the last, in 2023 specifically, now he only played 12 games before the year was kind of curtailed for him. But across those 12 games that he played, he was averaging just short of 20 disposals a match. He was kicking a goal a game. And we saw plenty of brilliance from him on the field. His on-field stuff was not suffering for the off-field dramas he was having. And that's a massive credit to his, I guess, football professionalism, that he was able to kind of conduct himself and prepare in the ways that were required of an AFL standard player. I think in terms of his needs, in terms of Geelong, the football club's needs, and I think about our defensive unit, he was kind of playing that halfback, running halfback sort of role. There's absolutely a place for him. He doesn't need to be that intercepting defender like a Tom Stewart or a Zach Guthrie. He's that runner, which in a similar sort of way that we're playing Max Holmes at the moment, but it frees Max up to maybe go more midfield and wing rather than off the half back line and utilize his skill sets as well. Imagine having the two of those blokes running around like down either side of the ground, completely destroying their opponents because they cannot keep up with them. And it's a huge asset on field that he could potentially bring. Again, everything comes back to the off-field problems. And I cannot stress this enough, that if he has not cleaned up his act, and that takes time, if he's not cleaned up his act, and if Geelong doesn't believe that they can put the mechanisms in place to support him going forward, then I don't want him. Because culturally, Geelong is super sound, and I do not want to, not only for the club, not only for the town, but for society, I don't want to see an individual like that being given a go where he's not deserved. But if Geelong believes that he's on the right track, if they believe they can have the mechanisms in place to continue to support him and keep him on the right track, then absolutely, he's the right fit for the Cats, on field and off it. I know that's a very contentious topic. I know there's a lot of people that may not necessarily love my stance here. And again, I want to make sure I stress there is no place in society for any of this sort of behavior. I don't want to see it encouraged. I don't want to see it supported, but I want to see the individual supported to no longer behave in the same way. Again, it's about rehabilitation. And I think in any scenario, whether it's someone in prison, whether it's someone who's taken drugs and has, completely ruined their life in that sense, or anything else, I might add, should we not be able to give people another chance? Should we not be able to give people the opportunities to overcome the errors of their ways and fix their life? And there's no football club that's better than Geelong at providing players these opportunities to get themselves back on track. And, as just a human, wanting nothing but the best for another human, I do want Taran to be able to fix up his life. And if he's able to play football of a high standard at the same time, then I'm all about it. Let us know in the comments what you think. Please be gentle, be nice. I'm not trying to be flippant when it comes to his actions. In fact, they're awful, awful actions. And if there's even a sign that he was to behave in the same way, cut him straight away. Get rid of him. But I believe the Cats can fix this guy. And if that's the case, then I believe he's a good fit for our on-field outfit too. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon. You've got a week of free early access to check things out if you like, before you could then potentially stick around and get a whole range of awesome exclusive content. Thanks a lot for watching. Remain Geelong strong, and I'll see you later.